And here we go to conclude in the next couple of days Agricola. Natus erat Agricola. Agricola is the nominative singular. He was born, and we have a slab here of ablatives. In the third consulship, tertium consul Gaius Caesar, or Gaius Caesare. Idibus of June, on the Ides of June, which would be the 13th of June, and he accessided, he died, quarto in quinquagesimo anno, which is the 54th year. That's 50 and that's 4. Decimum calends, I think that's supposed to mean, is the way they measure it, 10 days before the calends of September, which is the 23rd of August, so I don't think you'd have 33 days in September, but anyway. The Loeb says it's the 13th of June he was born, and the 23rd of August he died. And we have a qui here, which is an enclitic, so Collega and Priscino were the consuls when he died. Quod si means but if, habitum quoque also eosis. So if his habitum, he's bearing his appearance, posteri, it's plural, posterity or future people, if they would valent, if they should want, taking the infinitive to know, about his bearing. Decentior, we have a comparative of decens, which is the third adjective. Quam sublimia fuit, so he was more decens, more honest looking, than sublimior, another comparative, which means tall. Well, as the Loeb has it, he was well proportioned rather than imposing. Nihil impetus in vultu, gratia oris supererat. So there was nothing of impetus, which we had as a daily dictionary in the last month. It's looking attacking in vultu. Vultu and habitum are pretty similar. They both mean in his face. So there was nothing attacking or overbearing in his face. And supererat, oris again, this is of his face. Sometimes it means mouth, but probably means face again. And the overwhelming features of his face was gratia, which is like grace, gracefulness maybe, even probably just grace, or calmness. Okay, bonum virum, apposition, facili credores. So you would believe facili easily, bonum virum est, or for it. He was a good man. Magnum, another apposition to virum, and gladly, libenta, or freely you would think him great. So you'd easily believe him to be a good man, or might even gladly or freely call him a great man. Et ipsi, and himself, quidam, indeed or even, and himself, indeed, we'll say, quam, although, midi in spatio, in the middle space, integre aetatus eruptus. Okay, so ipsi eruptus, he was snatched away, he was stolen in the middle of his, well, age would be his life, aetatus, which is female, which goes with integra. So he was snatched away in the middle of a full life, integre aetatus, quantum, and as much ad gloriam, that's just to glory, longissimum, the superlative, avum perregit. So it looks like as much as his glory, perregit, continued on for a very long avum age. So we have aetus and avum both meaning periods of time. Quippy, sense, et. Probably could be both coming up, or it could be also. Since also vira bono, looks like his true goods, quae invertibus sita sunt, so sita sunt, so the good things which were situated, you might want to say, in his virtues, or which the good which was in his virtue, or valor, impleverat. That's a nice little word. So he filled up all the his true good, which was in his valor or virtues, and his following from the first set. Consolare would be dative singular, and to a consul, and triumphalibus augmentus praedito. This is a supine form from comes from do actually, do ditus etc. Sometimes it's used after the period of Augustus's life for something to do with the gods, but looks like he'd given the consular duties and decorated with triumphs, quid aliud. What else? Ad struere fortuna poterat. So what other thing was fortuna poterat, able, infinitive, to adstru, to heap upon someone to who had been a consul and praeditoed with triumphalis ornamentus, and who had these decorations of honours in triumphs. Okay. Opibus nimus non gaudabat. That's imperfect. He did not rejoice because he had excess in resources or wealth. Speciosa, in the margins there's a non. Contigurant. Now, if it was impersonal, it wouldn't have the N in it. So he touched on the speciosa, which is a showy or some sort of brilliance. Filia atqui uxor superstitibus. This is an ablative section with his daughter and his wife surviving him. Potest. Looks like we're still talking about Agricola. He was able, etiam even, videre, to be seen, beatus, blessed or happy, in columni dignitate, with his dignity or honours safe, his fama florente, with the rumours and reports about him, his fame was flourishing, and salvis ad finatibus et amicatis futura, if you get, okay, so his relatives were safe, and his friends, and to have fled, so that would take you back up into somewhere. So he was able to be seen as blessed and to have escaped the future, basically, what would happen while his honour was still safe, his fame was flourishing, and his relatives and friends were salvus safe. Nam sica, for just as, ei to him, non aliquid, it was not allowed for him, or it didn't happen, jurare, to endure, in hank, in looks accusative, into this, lucam would be accusative, into this light of a most blessed sacula, of double genitive, or this most blessed age. So just as it wasn't permitted for him to endure into this light of most, and princem Trajanum videre, and to see the principem, who would be the Emperor Trajan, quod augurio votusque apud nostris oris. So this is amongst our ears. Omen abated. It was omened, or he omened, in which with auguries and prayers, votus, amongst our ears, were omened. Ita. Thus or so, festinate mortis, and the speeding of his death, or the hastening of his death, grande solicium tulit. So he bore tulit, grand solicium. This is a neuter, and as you know, with neuters, they take E rather than INS, which the male and female take. Okay, so he bore a great solace. Let me just see this up there. That was a fugace, now it's evasive. To have evaded poststremum illud tempus, this final time, neuter, quo, in which dominatus non iam. Non iam, doesn't that mean no longer? I think they use it, because yam by itself means now. Non yam. Anyway, per intervala, which neuters have a in them at the end. So in this interval inspiramenta temporum of the times, this is a breathing space. So the interval and breathing space of time, I might make that our daily dictionary. It's a neuter word. So per, neuter, and neuter. For this interval and breathing of time, but continuously, said continuo, and velut, as if, uno ictu, in one blow, rem publica exhausted, had exhausted the republic. Okay, so that's a rather large block. Just as if he wasn't permitted to endure into this light of this most blessed time, and to see our leader Trajan, in which in auguries and in prayers amongst us ears had forewarned, in omens basically, or he'd figured out what happened in advance. Thus, in the haste of his death, he bore some grand solace to have evaded this final time, in which domination would no longer through this interval and breathing space of time, but a continuous period of time, and as if it was one strike, he had exhausted the republic. Okay, so we'll have a daily dictionary of the neuter spiramentum. It can be a breathing hole, air hole, vent, or pore. Breathing space interval. This is probably what we're referring to here, or blowing, breathing, exhaling can also be it. Nothing new there really. Back to the plot. 45, the beginning of 45. Agricola, nominative, non videt, hadn't seen. Obsessam curia. A lot of these supines have T at the end. Some of them have S, and a couple have X actually. There's about 4 or 5 that use X, but they're just connected to the S ones. So the curia was besieged. So Agricola did not see the curia being besieged, and clausum armis senatum, and the Senate enclosed or something by arms or with armed people, and eadem strage, and the strags is actually a word for like an overthrowing. It can be a butchery. The same butchery of tot consularum cade. So much slaughter of the consuls, and we have tot again, and so much nobilissimarum feminarum, double genitive, of the noble women, their exilia in fugas. So some got exiled and some fled, I'm guessing. So he died early, didn't get to see the curia besieged, the Senate enclosed with arms, and a slaughtering of so many consuls and so many noble women in exile and fleeing. Una can mean together. Ad hoc, still, Victoria. That's one victory. So una here means one. One victory still. Carus metius, some person. We have the passive version. He was concebator. It just means he was thought of still as only having one victory. He was an informant. At intra album archem, and inside the Alban citadel, is that the name of it? Alba? What do we call that in English? Alban citadel, okay. The sentiments or the viewpoint or the opinion, Metsalani, which is genitive. So the viewpoint of Messalis was strepibating, so he was making a din, making a noise inside the Alban citadel. And a third thing, and Massababius, some other person, Yam Tum was right then and there. He was a Rias, so he was a defendant on trial for something. Mox, soon, Nostra, something of us, Duxerant, led Helvidium, so led Helvidius in carcerem, into something that was barricaded, the jail most likely, Ammonis here. It was Nostra Manus. It was our hands that led Helvidius into a jail. Nos again. It was Nostra, now it's Nos us. Maurici rusticus qui visus. So visus, we were seen by these two people, Mauricus and Rusticus. And in the brackets we have photo of it. So it's like disgracefully we were seen of these two people, Mauricus and Rusticus, is that their names? Let me check in the book. Mauricus and Rusticus. And then Nos, again, us, Innocenti sanguine Seneca, this looks ablative, by the innocent blood, or in the innocent blood, or Seneca's innocent blood, perfundant, so we flowed or dripped with the blood of this innocent guy here. Do a bit of scrolling. Nero Tamen, so nevertheless Nero subtraxit oculus suus. Technically, if Nero is the nominative, these should be his eyes, having taken away the eyes. Usit qui and Scalera, you'll set the crimes ordered, non-spectivit. So Nero did not spectivit, he didn't look upon the sclera which he had ordered, having removed his eyes. The lobe has it as removing the people's eyes, but Nero's the nominative. Praequipua, which usually means especially. Subdom itiano, under Domitian. Parserat, so especially part of this miserarum, misery under Domitian. Videre and aspici, to look and to be seen. Okay, so that was part of the misery, was to look and to see. Cum spirata nostra subscriberentur, the imperfect. So suspira nostra, this is our breathing, would be subscribed, would be written down. Cum denotandis, this looks like a gerundive or something, is it? Tot hominum paloribus sufficeret savus illi vultus et rubor. So these are all nominative looking things. Quo se contra pudorum munibat. I'm nearly done. Anyway, so when denotandus the paloribus, when he noted the pallor, or the paleness of so many men, sufficeret, so illi would be him, this would be the emperor. The savas vultus, his savage bearing on his face, and the rubor, which is a redness. Quo, in which he fortified, say, himself against any sort of shame. And you, too, Agricola, vero would be but or moreover or something. But you, Felix Agricola, more like lucky Agricola or happy. Non vitae tantum clarity. Non-tandems not only or merely in the claritate, which is in the brightness or fame, vitae of life, but etiam the opportunitate mortis, but even the timeliness, that he died early basically, so he was saved from a lot of this by dying young. I think it was like 54 they set up there. Okay, that's it for today.